Hi, welcome back to Wowza Studio Sessions. I'm Scott Kelliker from Wowza Media Systems, and I'm here with Charlie Good, CTO and co-founder of Wowza Media Systems.
Thank you. We have to say, so Scott and I actually went to college together, so we've known each other for 30 years.
Ish year.
So this is kind of fun. Like 30 years later, here we are sitting on the camera on Facebook Live. That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna ask Charlie some questions about transcoding, and we're going to talk about what transcoding is, what it isn't, why it might be critical for you to use in your streaming, and how Wowza can help you. So I guess we'll just jump right in.
Sure, let's do it.
What's transcoding?
So transcoding for us, what we've kind of done with Wowza Streaming Engine, which is kind of the core product for Wowza, is we've built in the ability as we're ingesting a stream from RTMP or MPEG transport stream or anyway, for us to take that stream, decode it on the fly, and then re-encode it to different bit rates, to different frame sizes, to different codecs. And that kind of core functionality is kind of built into the Wowza streaming engine. So for us, transcoding is really that full ability to decode, scale, and re-encode on the fly.
Okay. And I hear different terms like transrating, transsizing, transcoding. Can you kind of explain what those are and how they're different from one another?
Yeah, so it's funny, like I think some of these words were made up by our industry to try to explain what some of these things mean. So like to me, the idea of transcoding is changing the format of the video or audio on the fly. So that means I have a stream coming in and I need it to go out in a different format that may be a different codec because I'm targeting a different browser that only supports, say, VP9. Or I want to transcode because I have a stream coming in that's at a high bit rate and a large frame size and I need to do adaptive bit rate encoding to get it down to smaller frame sizes and lower bit rates. So transcoding is, to me, encompasses that entire family of transrating and changing codecs. So transrating is really specifically, to me, changing the actual rate, the actual bit rate of the stream. So one great example is a lot of times we'll take in streams over satellite and they're at a super high bit rate, like 25 megabits per second because they're intended for broadcast. So we'll transrate that stream down to a bit rate that's more applicable for delivery over the web. So we might take it from 25 megabits per second all the way down to 8 megabits per second at 1080p. So that's what, to me, transrating is.
Okay. And then transmuxing is not transcoding.
Exactly. So transmuxing is, so we take the encoded bit stream in, and it's coming into us we end up turning it into kind of raw frames, raw AAC or H.264 frames. Transmuxing is the process of taking that stream, the bit stream, the encoded stream, and changing the format and how it's packaged for delivery. So we may be taking it in over RTMP, we kind of store it in a neutral format where it's the raw frames, and then on the fly we may turn that into Apple HLS, and that's transmuxing, or we may turn it into MPEG-. So transmuxing is the process of not touching the bit stream, not decoding, not re-encoding, not transrating. It's really the process of just taking that bit stream and changing the way it's packaged in format so that then we can deliver it to using the appropriate protocol and the appropriate format to a given target, such as a browser or a mobile device.
So that would be what some people call packaging, would you
right.
say is equivalent to transmuxing?
Exactly, yeah, that is packaging. I think transmuxing implies you're taking it from one format to another, where packaging is really the idea of just taking something that's raw into a single format.
Great. And then let's talk a little bit about why transcoding is important, why it's critical to people that are streaming.
I mean, the big thing is that where you're targeting your video, a lot of times there's restrictions or the need to change its format or its size to accommodate the playback scenario. And some of like what I literally just described of the satellite scenario where I have a high bit rate stream that I want to play on a mobile device, 25 megabits per second, say at 1080p 60 is not appropriate for playback on a mobile device. So I need to take that frame size, make it smaller. I need to potentially change the codec from maybe MPEG-2 to H.264, and then I need to lower the bit rate so it's appropriately formatted for that mobile device.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about adaptive bitrate and how that works in relation to transcoding for people that may not know?
Yeah, so adaptive bitrate is kind of a cool idea. It's literally taking a raw stream that's coming in at say a large frame size like 1080p and making multiple renditions of that stream all on the fly. And so I might have a 1080p version that's intended for my, that's going to be a highest bitrate, highest quality stream that's for the browser. And then I can create other renditions of that same stream that are smaller frame sizes, lower bit rates, to accommodate network conditions, and or the target for the actual stream itself. So an adaptive bitrate stream is a single stream that really describes multiple substreams that are at these different frame sizes and bit rates. And then the player on the other side, when it goes and requests to play the stream, it usually gets back some sort of manifest or some sort of playlist that it can parse and see what the different renditions are and decide which one's the appropriate rendition to play back, either for the given network conditions or for the target playback device, such as mobile or desktop.
Right. Yeah. And then Wowza, like I'm an outsider to it, has had a huge history of transcoding. Can you talk a little bit about how Wowza has had transcoding in its product and how it helps people with
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when. Actually, I remember the company's about 11 years old and Streaming Engine's probably about 10 years old. And it was probably 2 or 3 years into the development of the kind of streaming part of Streaming Engine where we realized that this idea of being able to change the format on the fly of streams was a really great idea. It seemed like something that was kind of, the next phase of what a media server could do. And, I kept looking at it and trying to decide how we were going to do it. And it seemed somewhat impractical to be able to take a stream that was coming in and in real time change its format, because decoding and encoding is an extremely heavy process. But as the computer got faster and libraries became available that were more efficient, there came a point in time where we crossed a point where we were actually able to decode and re-encode on the fly, inside of a media server. And so that was probably about 3, 4, 5 years into the history of Streaming Engine where we started to experiment with that idea. And then around that same time, maybe about 2 years later, was the advent of a lot of the hardware encoding platforms, such as NVIDIA, NVENC, and QuickSync with Intel, where that gave us even more volume that we could do as far as decoding and encoding on a single piece of hardware. And then it just took off from there. Yeah. All of a sudden now we were able to do, where maybe we could do one stream at a time on a server, we could do 4 or 8 or 10 streams on a single server, and then it just went crazy after that. So it was fun in the beginning because it was like we weren't sure we could do it, and we were able to do it, and now, man, we're doing it at scale. In some cases, we're doing 16, 18, 20 streams on a single piece of hardware.
Yeah, it's quite amazing because that was all being done only with hardware for such a long time.
Right, exactly.
And then how about, so this is available in Streaming Engine.
Right.
And then what about Streaming Cloud and other Wowza products?
Yeah, it's cool. Streaming Cloud shares the same code. Obviously, the core Wowza Streaming Cloud is Wowza Streaming Engine. And so those core functionality around transcoding is all available and exposed in Wowza Streaming Cloud. And we do have the ability to take advantage of GPU resources in the form of the NVIDIA hardware that's available through Amazon and Azure, and as well as Google Compute Engine. And so the Wowza Streaming Engine capability around transcoding is fully integrated in the cloud, and it has a much nicer kind of point-and-click UI as well as a REST API that enables you to configure streams kind of on the fly, on a per-channel basis for taking advantage of that transcoding capability.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to know about transcoding.
That is good. I'm not sure if I know any more about transcoding.
Okay, well, so that's it from Wowza Studios at NAB. Thank you.
Thank you.